are set to roll, folks. Set to roll on a Wednesday, hump day, hottest show on the streets. Number one forum for Bama football news with yours truly, the hype man for Crimson Tide football conversation, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. In my own words, coming to you from the Magic City of Birmingham, streaming the show on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give us a thumbs up, like the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so you can have every update, every analysis, every piece of commentary on your favorite program, that being the Crimson Tide. Not only are we streaming you the show on YouTube, but we also got you covered here on Facebook and Twitter as well. So no excuse whatsoever for you not to be locked on to the number one ticket here when it comes to Bama football. We got a lot to get to on this evening. Tim Tebow is making a return to the National Football League for the Jaguars. I mean, a lot is being said about that today, but we got big stuff, huge things to dive into, and we want you, the fans, to be a part of the show. 205-448-1358. That is the number to call to let your voice be heard tonight. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you. A little bit later on in the show, we'll be joined by Chris Franklin, a beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles from NJNewJerseyNews.com. Going to be excited to have him on to talk about the Eagles taking Devonta Smith in the draft, Landon Dickerson in the draft, getting some pieces to help out one Jalen Hurts, and how he feels and what he feels about where Jalen Hurts is concerned entering year two with the program. So gonna be awesome to talk to one Chris Franklin. Gotta give a shout out to my man John Ivor in the building, handling the thing here from the production studio, getting the ones and twos done. As always, folks, that daily super chat goes $75. Daily super chat go. Appreciate you, the fans, for helping us out here. Also, the NFL schedules are out for all 32 teams. The schedules are out. Got some incredible week one matchups that feature former Alabama players. We'll talk about that as well. But we'll start the show off with this right here. And for me, there are various or different media pundits, personalities, outlets that I take to the bank when they put news and information out. These people happen to be very credible to me. Case in point, if Adam Schefter of ESPN puts information out there, you can pretty much take that to the bank and cash your deposit. It is true, it is factual, it is accurate, because Schefter, one of the few guys that has an assortment of sources. He's been well vetted in this thing for quite some time. He's probably one of few ESPN reporters that the NFL teams allow into the conversational room to break down these topics. So if Schefter puts something out, you bank on it, you believe it. You take it for what it is at face value. The same thing for Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. If he reports something, if he puts news out there, you take it for what it is, you believe it at face value. But there are also some sites out there that are kind of hit and miss, if you will. And one of those sites, to me, is Pro Football Focus. I mean, for their pro stuff, they're kind of, they're kind of head on, but for most of their college stuff, it's hit or miss when you talk PFF. And Brian Robinson, Alabama running back Brian Robinson, in his fifth year with the Crimson Tide. He's played in 52 career games, so he's got a ton of experience, B-Rob does. And the young man from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, former four-star in the 2017 class, trying to not only improve his NFL dream. He's trying to win a national championship, but not only just that, trying to improve his NFL draft value. And according to a graphic from a PFF, it had Robinson listed in its top 5 in terms of best running backs returning to college football for the upcoming season. Now, along with Robinson, it had Tank Bigsby of Auburn at number 1, Deuce Vaughn of Kansas State at 2, Kennedy Brooks at Oklahoma at 3, and Jerrion Ealy for Ole Miss at 5. B-Rob was at number 4. And to me here, the question becomes, can Brian Robinson be one of the nation's top backs? Can he be one of the best backs in all of college football? Now, the good thing for Robinson is we live in a day and age where the transfer portal tells you, if I'm not the main guy, if I'm not numero uno, if I'm not number 1, then let me take my ball and go elsewhere where I can be number 1. And B-Rob, not that type of dude. He surged behind a couple or a few really stellar backs for the Crimson Tides program when you discuss Damian Harris, Bo Scarborough, Josh Jacobs, and Najee Harris. B-Rob didn't pout. He didn't sulk. He didn't try to draw any attention to himself. He said, I'll take it for what it is. I'll serve behind these guys. I'll make the best out of the carries that I get, and I'll see where it goes to from there. In all 4 years he has been at Alabama, Robinson has seen his numbers improve and increase and go up, including this past year where he had 91 carries for 483 yards and 6 touchdowns. Nick Saban has even mentioned that, B-Rob could have gotten more carries. He could have gotten more responsibility a season ago. It was just the fact of the matter was, when you have a Najee Harris on a roll going at full momentum, you don't want to take from that. You don't want to pull him out of the game and slow your offensive pace down. So that was why B-Rob didn't get the opportunities or the more opportunities that he could have gotten in the previous season. But what we know from Robinson is this right here. We know he's got power. He's got size at 6'1", 228 pounds. We know the brother's got power. We saw it in the national championship game against Ohio State. He ran guys over. He bullied guys to the ground. He stepped over guys. So we know he's got power. We know he has some speed. Probably not a whole bunch of breakaway speed, and that's an area of his game that he needs to work on. And he's doing that with Dr. Matt Ray, the Director of Performance Science for the Tide, and also new running backs coach Robert Gillespie, who played the position at the University of Florida from 1998 to 2001, if I'm not mistaken, under Steve Spurrier. So he's got the coaches to help him work on his speed to be all the more explosive. But he's got some speed, he's got power, he's got size. He's a really great pass protector. He learned that from his high school days at Hillcrest High in Tuscaloosa. So there are some things that B-Rob already has to his game. Now, the one area he's got to seriously improve on is catching passes out the backfield, being a receiver. And the reason why, it's become a requirement in the pros now. It's become a requirement in the NFL. If you're trying to be a first-round back, we're already seeing these NFL draft pundits talk backs out of the first round by saying, if you want to get a running back, get him in the second round, get him in the third round, get him in the fourth round. If you get a running back in the first round, you're making a huge, ginormous mistake. And we're already seeing this happen. So for B-Rob, it's become a requirement that if you're trying to be a first-round back, you have got to be able to be a complete player. And by complete, I'm referring to running the ball with power in between the tackles, having the breakaway speed to bounce plays outside, having the elusiveness, evasiveness, athleticism to do that, having the contact balance to not be brought down by one guy, one defender, one tackler, being able to be dominant in pass protection, but most importantly, being able to help these offenses in the passing game, in the passing attack, catching balls from the quarterback, coming out the backfield. B-Rob, across his 4 years of playing for the Tide, only 17 receptions for 150 yards. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to get it done there. So Bill O'Brien and Robert Gillespie, they've got to find a way to feature Robinson as a receiver, catching passes off the backfield and seeing what he can do from that aspect of the game. Because if you look at the last two running backs that Alabama has had taken in the first round, Josh Jacobs and Najee Harris, both did everything well. Josh Jacobs was taken in the first round of a 2019 draft by the Las Vegas Raiders. Najee Harris, of course, taken in the first round, number 24 overall by the Steelers in this recent draft. And both of these two guys ran strong between the tackles. Both of these two guys, speed, athleticism, breakaway speed, bouncing plays, outside explosiveness. Both guys having the contact balance, not being brought down by one guy. Both guys strong in pass protection. But the key here, people, both guys caught the ball exceptionally well coming out of the backfield and knew how to finish those plays. Harris in particular, the last two seasons at Alabama, 70 receptions for 729 yards and 11 touchdowns. So we know the formula for what it takes to be successful as a running back at the next level. But for Brian Robinson, Pro Football Focus, PFF, I mean, they hit or miss it. They hit and miss at times. But PFF, it's got B-Rob, Brian Robinson, among its top five running backs returning to college football for the upcoming season, listing him at number 4. The big question for him is, can he be that type of guy? Can he be that type of player? Can he be one of the top backs in college football? And most importantly, can he become the complete player to where, upon him pursuing the NFL draft and going through that process, he will have everything that he needs to have to be a number one back, to be a first-round back, to be one of the top backs taken here off the board. But folks, we're going to take our first break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting started. Upon our return, we get to a call, we get to a dialogue, a conversation with you, the Tide Faithful. We'll take your calls right after this.
You're watching In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith, brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Get your four-finger bling necklace today by visiting weownthefourthquarter.com. Throw them foes up. Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care, in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
And we are back in from the break, people, on a Wednesday hump day. Hottest show on the streets. Number one forum for Bama football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And we're taking your calls right now. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. We take our first call of the evening. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Been calling you for several weeks, Coach Williams in Dallas. You know, and
What's
I'd like
going
to
on,
give
man?
you a little bit of an update. Hey, man, just an update on Bama football. You know, I'm down here in Texas, but I enjoy watching good football. You know, Bama's a good team, man. And Saban, you know, has always had some good products. Who's the leading candidates to be the quarterbacks, running backs? Hey, man, we want to know that stuff down here, man. You got some Bama fans down here. Roll Tide, baby.
Absolutely, Coach Williams, absolutely. So the lead candidate to be the quarterback right now is Bryce Young of a sophomore from California, former 5-star, so he's the lead candidate to be the quarterback. The lead candidate to be the starting running back is Brian Robinson, a fifth-year senior, but you have a lot of fans out there that want to see more of Jace McClellan, more of Roydell Williams. Hopefully Trey Sanders can stay healthy, because every time the young man tries to turn the corner and shake off the injury bug, the darn thing keeps hitting him again. So while Brian Robinson is the projected number one back here for Alabama, you still have some guys that want to see what Jace McClellan, Roydell Williams, and other guys at that position can do.
Well, you got a young man down here from Duncanville that was a 5-star recruit that's coming in this year, Black Shear. Yeah, I believe that's his name, from Duncanville down in this area.
Absolutely.
And
that's a guy that I want to see once he gets in here between late this month and early June, because the guy's got freakish size at 6'2", 240. I want to see, has his footwork got cleaned up a little bit? Has he gotten faster with the lateral quickness? Because if he has, and if he can show some real stuff here in the summer camp, fall practice, going to be interesting.
Yes, it is. Like I said, his dad was a hell of a football player, coached his dad a little bit in high school. Didn't know too much about the kid until the kid got to Duncanville and started doing his thing. And you got several kids down here that gotten letters from Bama. But my thing is, like I tell them, hey, keep working hard. Keep working. And I guarantee you somebody from that area is going to get down here and look at you guys and see if you guys are what they're looking for. Now, when you get there, you got to be able to compete. You got to be able to compete, baby. You got to get there and play some ball, because you got a lot of kids from all over the different states that's coming in and bound. But, hey, man, I'm enjoying your show. I just got you, and it's every Wednesday night at 6. Am I correct?
Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6, man. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Hey, man, I'm going to blow your line up, especially doing football season, high school football season down here in Texas. Like I said, man, we got some hell of a prospects, man. We got guys down here that can play some ball. And all of them are not going to University of Texas, A&M, and places like that. Some of them like to, see what they can do in the SEC, because I've always said, and I'll say it again, I'm not being prejudiced about it. SEC is, that's football, man. That's big boy football. So, you got to put your pads on and get out there and do what you need to do your thing. But, hey, man, I'm going to call the show, man. I'm going to be a regular, man.
Appreciate it, Coach Williams. Coach Williams getting us started off here on the show, calling in from Texas. We take our next call of the evening. You are live on the show. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Steven? Is your boy Scuba Lou from the 3rd Ward. That's that Magnolia, I was just going to call. I wasn't going to call till I heard my man that just called before me. He was talking about a lot of fans down there in Texas, a lot of fans down here in the NO2, baby. So I just want to call in and say, roll tide. We coming for the 19. I'm ready for it. Ready for the season to start. Roll tide, baby. Scuba Lou. I'm out.
Absolutely, my man. Scuba Lou calling in here from the NO, doing his thing. Doing his thug this. Appreciate him calling in. But we got to give a shout out to Spencer Reveley. That $5 donation in the Super Chats. Appreciate that love there coming from Spencer. As always, people, that daily Super Chat go. $75 there. Daily Super Chat go. Thank you guys for helping us out right here. Quick topic right now. So the NFL has released its schedule. So all 32 teams have their schedules. They're out right now by the NFL, and there are going to be some very intriguing Week 1 matchups, including some that will feature some former Bama football players. So let's get to those right now. So the first matchup off the bat, you're going to have Dolphins-Patriots on Sunday, September 12th, Dolphins-Patriots, and this could potentially feature Tua Tagovailoa versus Mac Jones. Now, if Mac can beat out Cam Newton in training camp, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough to beat out Cam Newton. But if Mac can beat out Cam Newton and it's Mac and Tua week 1. That is going to be one fun matchup. Nick Saban will be sitting on his couch going, the two quarterbacks I put in the first round, both going up against each other. That's going to be fun. Dolphins, Patriots right there. But next matchup, how about Eagles, Falcons? This is going to be really intriguing. You got Jalen Hurts and Devonta Smith going up against Calvin Ridley and Julio Jones. Some Bama on Bama crime right here. Falcons, Eagles, that's going to be a good game. That's going to be a great matchup. John, if the tickets are good for this game, I may find myself in Atlanta to check out that matchup right there, Eagles, Falcons. But next one, how about the Chargers against the Washington football team? That's going to be a fun one. The Chargers, Justin Herbert, second-year quarterback out of Oregon. The Chargers have drafted a young offensive line, and they're going up against the Washington football team that's got the Bama defense over there. Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and Sean Dion Hamilton and Landon Collins. I mean, some heavy hitters over there looking to tear Justin Herbert limb from limb. It's going to be a fun matchup between the Washington football team and the LA Chargers. And then last but not least, you've got the Ravens and the Raiders. So this will be a Monday night game. On Monday, September 13th, here more than likely on ESPN. You've got Marlon Humphrey and the Baltimore Ravens taking on Henry Ruggs III, Josh Jacobs, Kenyon Drake, and the Las Vegas Raiders, also Alex Leatherwood over there too. So going to be some good week 1 football games in the NFL. Check those out. A lot of those featuring some former Bama players. Before we take our next break, Jimmy Clay, boom, baby, bam, baby, best donator in the game. Jimmy Clay dropping in that $25 donation, helping us out here on the show. We go to a break right now, folks. Upon our return, we sit down with my man Chris Franklin, who covers the Philadelphia Eagles for NewJerseyNews.com. We're going to be talking Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, and the Eagles with Chris Franklin right after this.
You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back and rolling, folks. Back in hot from the break of a number 1 ticket here for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And right now, we head over to the In My Own Words hotline. We pick up my man Chris Franklin covering the Philadelphia Eagles for New Jersey News, NJNews.com. Chris, how you doing, man? Glad to have you back in here. How you feeling?
Hey, Stephen, it's always great to talk to you, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. Glad to have you in here. Chris Franklin here, folks, covering the Philadelphia Eagles live here on the hotline In My Own Words on Wednesday. So, Chris, first and foremost, the Philadelphia Eagles, they hit on some needs in this recent draft. The first one, trading with the Dallas Cowboys to get the number 10 overall pick in the first round and drafting Devonta Smith, the Heisman winner 2024, the Crimson Tide, and the program's all-time leading receiver, and somebody of whom Jalen Hurts is very much so familiar with. But how will the Eagles go about using Devonta Smith offensively?
Well, I think he opens up a lot for that Eagles offense. Nick Sirianni likes to use a lot of 3-by-1s sets. I mean, he'll have the tight end, which will be Dallas Goedert on one side. Then he'll have Jalen Reagor, probably Greg Ward, and Smith there. And he lessens a lot of the pressure for a lot of those other receivers. I mean, with his speed, with his route running, with his hands, the Eagles are going to try to find every which way they can to get the ball into his hands, and he definitely listens to pressure off of Jalen Reagor, last year's number 1 pick, and I wouldn't be surprised if they start to use him across, especially starting to use him across the middle, trying to go ahead and take advantage of the second level of defense, and then when you get that going, you can definitely go over top with him too. So there's so much you can do with him, and you can see why a lot of the Giants fans were upset. I mean, I remember seeing the video of one guy punching the drywall because the Eagles had leapfrogged them and selected Smith. So in Philadelphia, I think they made a good decision by selecting them, and the offense is going to show that later on this season, I think.
Now, Chris, do you also see a situation where maybe Philly uses Smitty on special teams also? Do you see him in a kick return, punt return action?
Well, I think that's in play, given that what they had last season, they tried to use Jalen Reagor back in punt returns, and they didn't really use it. And with the Eagles addressing the running back moves lately, their primary kick returner, Boston Scott, looks like he could potentially be expendable. He'll be fighting for a job. So I think it's all going to be Scott's the linchpin of all this. And if I'm the Eagles, I'm probably letting him get acclimated to the offense first, and if there's a couple spot situations where they can throw him in there, say if they're down late in the game and they need to try to create a spark with a big return, they can try it back that way. But I would say beginning out with, I think he'll primarily focus on offense.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, here on a Wednesday, we got my man Chris Franklin covering the Philadelphia Eagles for NewJerseyNews.com here, talking Devonta Smith, Landon Dickerson, Jalen Hurts, and these guys for Bama all meshing into this one team, this one franchise being the Eagles. So, Chris, moving on here to Landon Dickerson, the Eagles took him second round, number 37 overall. I know he's continuing to rehab from a knee injury he suffered against Florida in the SEC championship game a season ago. But do you see a situation where Dickerson can push for some early playing time, possibly start, but it needs to get some early playing time?
I think it's possible. You never can count anything out. I think when you look at what he could provide, if he comes back healthy and strong the way that that they're hoping that he can do by the first week, he can definitely push Isaac Seumalo for that left guard position. Right now at center, Jason Kelce, he's been there since the early 2010s, and he's a stalwart, all-pro center. So they're going to keep him there, and he's the engine that goes. But he could push Isaac Seumalo potentially for that left guard spot, and if not, it's not bad. I don't think it's a bad thing for Dickerson too, because he won't have to rush to try to get ready for a season. And you got to love his versatility, because the Eagles' offensive line had a lot of injury issues last season. So if he learns we know he's versatile enough to play all 5 positions on that offensive line, but if he feels comfortable playing both guard spots and center, and there's an injury, I could see him throwing him in there immediately without any hesitation.
Dickerson playing with a lot of versatility throughout his career, whether he was at Florida State or Alabama, as an offensive tackle, offensive guard, and center. But we have Chris Franklin here on the phone lines covering the Philadelphia Eagles for NewJerseyNews.com here on In My Own Words. So, Chris, as we now look at Jalen Hurts, I mean, Philly drafted him second round, 2020 venue. We saw what he did last year, late in the season, brought a spark to the offense, brought a zeal, brought an energy. You have so many outside factors going. We're not sold on Jalen Hurts, don't think he's, big-time quarterback, don't think he's a premier quarterback, but the young man has worked his tail off this entire offseason thus far. In your mind, how do you feel like the Eagles have tried to set him up in the best possible situation to have success here in year 2, because he's going to come out of the gate facing Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons week 1 of the season. But how have you seen Philly set Hurts up for success year 2?
Well, I think the first thing they did was getting Smith was a huge thing, because that familiarity, that when you're familiar with a wide receiver already, and when plays break down and you both are on the same page, hey, if I roll out to the right or you see the spot open, you go there, that's huge. So I think that was the first one. Secondly, they're trying to refortify the offensive line with Dickerson. They did that. Third, I think one of the biggest pickups of the offseason they had was picking up Kerryon Johnson off of waivers. And one issue that the Eagles running backs have had in the past is their pass blocking. So you add Kerryon Johnson in there, not only can he catch the ball at the backfield, he's more known for his pass blocking. So you have Johnson that can be able to protect his backside as well too. You can go and roll around, and they have these receivers that have an additional year. And I think when you hear Sirianni talk about how he wants to envision his offense, he wants to simplify things for the receiver. You couple that, you bring that all together, I think he has the building blocks to at least start out pretty decently this season. And it's going to be a big one because they're giving him the whole entire year, so I think he can take advantage of it. And if it pans out, the Eagles have 3 first-round picks next year. They can go ahead and continue to build around them too.
Now, Chris, Jalen Hurts grew up tough. I mean, grew up down in Texas, Houston, Texas. His father was his football coach. Grew up tough down there. Even he goes to a tough-minded defensive head coach in Nick Saban here at Alabama. He learns from that, grows from that. Then he goes to another guy in Lincoln Riley, of whom a little bit more free-spirited, but still tough in his own right. And now with Nick Sirianni, there's been some mixed signals. You have some people that really like him as a head coach. You have some people that go where he doesn't bring a lot of power to the room. He's kind of a bland guy, doesn't have a lot of personality. So when you look at Coach Sirianni here for just a second, Chris, is he the guy that can get the most out of Jalen Hurts as he continues to grow as a quarterback? Is Sirianni the right coach to help develop Jalen? Chris, you there? We may have lost Chris Franklin there, covering the Philadelphia Eagles for NewJerseyNews.com there, bud. I appreciate Chris for coming on anyway to talk about the Eagles, to talk about Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith, and also Landon Dickerson. All of these guys fused together here with the Eagle program. And it's going to be fun watching that first game of the season between the Eagles and the Falcons. You're going to have Smitty versus Julio and Calvin Ridley. You're going to have Jalen Hurts versus Matt Ryan. Going to be a very, very cool matchup. And just for me personally, I just kind of want to see, is Nick Sirianni the guy as the head coach to really mold and develop Jalen? Because like I mentioned, there have been some mixed signals going on around the NFL. Some people like Sirianni as a coach. Some feel like the guy is way over his head. We'll see what happens. We'll see how it boils down. But we'll take a break here on the show, folks. Don't touch that dial, because upon our return, we go back to the phone lines to take your calls, your thoughts, and have a conversation with you, the Bama Nation, after this.
Don't touch that dial. Call in right now as we're taking your calls up next on In My Own Words with Stephen M. Smith. Brought to you by We Own the Fourth Quarter. Visit WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com now to get your 4-finger bling necklace. You know what we do at the start of the fourth quarter. We throw them foes up. But now you don't have to wait until the fourth quarter. Get your 4-finger bling necklace at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. It's the first and only logo that captures the essence of all Crimson Tide players and fans as we represent the legendary Alabama football fourth quarter dominance. Get your 4-finger bling necklace right now at WeOwnTheFourthQuarter.com. Get yours today and stun on them haters. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
As we are back into the action here, folks, on In My Own Words, yours truly, Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Before we take your calls, back into the call topic, we got to give a shout-out to Mechanic! Whoa! Mechanic, that $45 donation in the Super Chats. Big love there coming from Mechanic. With that being said, the daily Super Chat goal of $75 has been met thanks to you, the Alabama football fans, helping us out here on this show. But like I said, we're back in from the break to take your calls. Call segment brought to you by the Blue Wrench Gang, 205-448-1358. That is the number to let your voice be heard on the show, 205 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. And as you guys are getting your thoughts in here, cool topic right now, and it goes to one Ajay Hall. Ajay Hall, freshman wide receiver for the Crimson Tide, is doing his thing right now, people. I mean, so far this offseason, he's working his tail off. And in this video, he caught a pass, just having fun. He caught a pass over Indianapolis Colts defensive back Isaiah Rodgers. Goes over Rodgers, makes the catch, plucks the ball out of the air. I'm telling you, this brother looks like Julio Jones out here with the hops, the elevation, the body, the ball control, the judgment, the big hands, picking that ball out of the air. Now, I understand Alabama's got a lot of receivers here on the roster to enter this season, in discussing John Metchie, Slade Bolden, Jamison Williams to transfer from Ohio State, Xavier Williams, Trayshawn Holden, a lot of guys here on this roster. But Ajay Hall is making his best push here to be that freshman guy that can fight for a spot to get on the field. And we have seen Nick Saban do this. We've seen Saban, he could have a veteran guy on the roster, but if that freshman gives you a better opportunity, if that freshman gives you the best chance to be productive, whether it's offense, defense, special teams, it does not matter. If a freshman gives you the best chance to be successful on the field and win football games, Saban is putting that guy on the field. We have seen this happen too many times at the University of Alabama. So Ajay Hall doing his thing right now on the field. But we take a call right here. You're live on the show. What's going on?
Steven, what's good with you, man?
What's happening? What's going on?
Thank you, man. Man, I called you last time you had the show and said I feel like Bill O'Brien should never punt the ball. The offense should never punt.
You did say that. You did say that.
Yeah. Now I'm finna talk crazy and say the defense should have like 50, 60, 75 sacks and shit, man. We should be knocking every quarterback head off.
Okay. And you know what, my man? I'm happy you mentioned that, because here's why. I mentioned in the first segment that Pro Football Focus is hit and miss when it comes down to college stuff. So they put out their top 5 edge rushers returning to college football, and the website left off, it omitted Chris Allen and Will Anderson. Like, what? You left off 2 of the best pass rushers in the SEC, so that's even bigger motivation for those 2.
Oh yeah, Steve. But that's just a little bit of rap poison, as Nick called it. We just need to let them boys loose, man. I'm talking about Pete Golden need to have his creativity stick and get back to some of them old crazy blitzes that Kirby used to have and all of that, because we got too much talent and speed and too much depth to just, go through a game and be like, oh, Drew Sanders didn't get in. Why? There's no reason he didn't get in. He couldn't get in for 5 plays to get after the quarterback. There's no reason Chris Bradwell should have got in there. You know what I mean? I
agree. I mean, I feel like Alabama should have platoon dime rabbits packages. It should have 3 sets of the dime rabbits.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. But that's all I wanted, man. I'm Jake from Sheffield. Man, I've been listening to the show forever, man. Rightfully my second time calling in, man. I love your show, Steve.
Appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the call right there from my guy calling into the show there. Good call right there. And like I said, I feel like there should be 2 to 3 dime rabbits packages where the first package could be, Chris Allen, Will Anderson, with Tim Smith, Fidarian Mathis, LeBron Ray, one package. In the next package, you throw Drew Sanders, Chris Braswell in there. You throw Montel Goodwine up in there. Like, there should be 3 sets of the dime rabbits to your confusing offenses where you don't know which dime rabbit set is entering the game. I agree. Pete Golding's got too much talent, too much ability. You got to get all of those guys on the field. And like I mentioned, because of the fact that the defense is ahead of the offense, this is a situation where Golding has to have that confidence to, turn some guys loose from the quarterback, turn some blitzes loose, turn the horses loose and let these guys do what they do, hitting the quarterback, getting sacks, forcing fumbles, creating interceptions, and having a solid, sound defense. Now, will Alabama shut everybody out this season? No, but at least, have that defense where you're still putting that bit of fear into the hearts of the opponents that you are playing against. But to end all be all from the topic there, Ajay Hall out there doing his thing here, catching passes over NFL defensive backs, and looking forward to seeing what he does as he continues to grow there at wide receiver. But we take a break right now here, folks, on the show. But upon our return, I'm going to get into John Metchie. You've already got some NFL scouts thinking that he's better than Devonta Smith or Jalen Waddle. So I'm going to give my reaction to this statement. And can John Metchie really be the next first-round pick at that position? We'll talk about it after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide. Thank you for tuning in. Show your support right now by clicking that like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button now and enable all notifications to make sure you don't ever miss any of the best Alabama football news, notes, and information right here on Touchdown Alabama.
We're back in, folks. Back in from the break of a number one ticket here for Crimson Tide football news on a Wednesday hump day. In my own words, yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. And before we get into a conversation on one Jonathan Metchie, got to remind you of TDAwear.com. That's TDAwear.com. So for all of you Crimson Tide fans still overjoyed with Alabama's national championship, we want you to check out our championship collection merch. Now this means you grab you an 18 of them things, folk, hoodie, t-shirt, or sweatshirt, as well as our Got 18 We Do shirts. Designs that feature all 18 championship years on the back. You head over to TDAwear.com, do it right now, TDAwear.com, and you check out the Championship Collections merch tab, get you those shirts, that gear today, showing that support for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But it's now time to transition into a little topic on one John Metchie. So I was surfing through Twitter, perusing through social media as I normally do every day. And so there was one NFL draft analyst from ESPN, Matt Miller. Apparently, he got some information from a couple of scouts and talking about one John Metchie. And the scout said, hey, Jalen Waddle, good, great, elite, Devonta Smith, special, but we think that John Metchie is better than Smith or Waddle. And once that piece of information got put out there, I immediately started to go, okay, you pushing it. I mean, John Metchie's good, and I covered all three of them. I've covered Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs III also. I covered Jeudy, Ruggs, Smitty, Waddle, Metchie. Looked at all of them. So, Metchie's good. He's good. He's talented. He can be explosive. He can be a really strong playmaker. But to sit there and say that he's better than Smith or Waddle, to say that he's better than the 2020 Heisman Trophy winner, to say that he's better than one of the more electrifying receivers in college football, you are really pushing it, saying that right there. I mean, Metchie still has to kind of show me and everybody else that he can be a true number one option there at wide receiver. And I know Nick Saban said a while back that Metchie is a guy that he's looking to be the next, first-round pick, the next top 20 pick. But then again, I still want to see Metchie be the guy, be the number one receiver in leading the team and guiding that room and being productive in that room and dominating that room and not dropping passes in that room. Because despite the fact that he had big success last year, which he did, 55 catches, 916 yards, was fourth in the SEC in receiving yards, 6 touchdowns, Metchie still suffered from some drop passes there. He did have 2 games where he had over 100 yards receiving against Texas A&M and Tennessee. Now, the big thing for Metchie will be, can he be a complete wide receiver? And by complete, I'm referring to he can catch the ball, he's got breakaway speed, he can put moves on DBs, he can block, he can run routes, he can set up defensive backs with those routes. Can he be just a complete package guy that beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're saying we got to draft him first round, we got to take him first round, we cannot move off of him first round? Or at the very least, can he be explosive enough to where he catches your attention, and in the same facet, you have to go, well, we got to take him first round because, we can work with everything else in regards to him. The reason why I bring this up is when you look at guys like Jerry Jeudy and Devonta Smith, they were complete package guys. I mean, they were route runners, they were speed guys, they can set up defensive backs with moves, they distributed the weight properly coming in and out of the break, they could block also. They were complete package playmakers to where when it came down to the NFL draft, the Denver Broncos, where Jeudy is concerned, and the Eagles, where Smitty is concerned, they were like, we cannot pass up on these guys. These are undeniable, complete first-round talents. And, that was those two. And then when you discuss Jalen Waddle and Henry Ruggs, those two probably, they weren't the lead guys. They weren't the main guys. They weren't the number one options, but they were so darn explosive to where if you were an NFL scout, you're like, holy crap, I got to draft this dude. I can't sit here and let this guy stay on the board because somebody in my division is going to come up and take this kid from me, and I'm going to be sitting here with egg on my face. I got to draft Jalen Waddle. I got to draft Henry Ruggs because these are the two most explosive human beings on the board. So that becomes a thing for Metchie, is can he be, either number one, a complete package guy where he does everything well, where he does everything crisp, where he is fluent and proficient in everything, or can at the very least he just be a really extremely explosive guy? And you have NFL scouts going, okay, we got to take you, we got to draft you, we've got to pursue you, but I just thought that was very interesting, just looking over social media and seeing how you've got Matt Miller, NFL draft analyst for ESPN, already getting from scouts that, Jalen Waddle was great, Devonta Smith was unbelievable, but we're looking at John Metchie to be a guy that can be better, that will be better than either Smith or Waddle. So, I mean, that's unbelievable. I mean, you already got Alabama fans laughing it up when that statement was made. I'm not saying that John Metchie cannot do it, absolutely. I'm just saying that right now, at this present time, that statement is pushing it because you're sitting there saying that, this guy is going to be better than the Heisman Trophy winner that just made defensive backs sing the blues last year in terms of Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, one of the more explosive, electrifying receivers to come into college football in quite some time. But it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out, how it all boils down when you talk Metchie here coming into this season for the Crimson Tide. But folks, as always, Tide fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage here on your favorite program. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you've got the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we have you taken care of. You can do this iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Overcast.fm. or iHeartRadio. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I shall return on Friday, continuing the conversation that is Bama football. Also, Tide fans, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. That link will be found in the description. Also, if you're trying to be one of the first to get you that print magazine, new edition of Touchdown Alabama magazine that's coming soon, shipping soon here, you can get this by going to touchdownalabama.com. You click join, become a member, a subscriber today. That link in the description. And also you can copy that 4-finger bling necklace, 4-finger bling jewelry, courtesy of our guys at weownthefourthquarter.com. That link in the description as well. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children continue doing the right thing, fun thing, smart thing, good thing, legitimate thing to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words.